The story begins with a boxer named Billy, who makes a living fighting in underground matches in Thailand. Even though he was a really talented fighter, he never actually got the chance or the platform he deserved to make it big. He lived among the same people he used to fight against, and over time, he unfortunately fell into a deep drug addiction. To keep up with his habit and afford the drugs, he eventually started selling them. Because of this, it wasn't long before he was caught by the police. They found drugs and guns on him, which led to him receiving a very long prison sentence. Before he was moved into the main jail area, he had to undergo testing, and then he was told the strict rules of the prison alongside the other inmates. He quickly learned that if anyone broke these rules, the punishment would be incredibly harsh. This prison world was nothing like the outside. It was a place where nobody did anything for anyone else unless they got something out of it. It was a world where everyone was selfish and looking out only for themselves. One day, while Billy was going to get some water, he ended up in a fight with a gang. Even though Billy wasn't the one at fault, the other prisoners lied to the guards and blamed him for the whole thing when they arrived. As a punishment, Billy was locked away in a tiny cell that was so small it was hard to even sit down properly. After spending 3 days in that cramped space, he was moved to a different cell. He soon realized that this new cell was full of serious criminals who had formed a gang together, led by a man named Keng. They asked Billy what crime he had committed to end up there, and when Billy told them he was there for selling drugs, they all started laughing at him and making fun of him. They even started teasing and bullying him. When night came, everyone went to sleep, but in the middle of the night, Billy went to the toilet and saw something horrific. The gang members were torturing a new prisoner. Billy was terrified. He really wanted to help the boy and save him, but the gang members threatened Billy with a knife, telling him that if he said a word to anyone, they would do the exact same thing to him. Terrified, Billy went back to his bed and stayed quiet. He was already so scared of these men that he just tried to push the image out of his mind and go to sleep. When he woke up the next morning, he found out that the prisoner they were torturing had died. Seeing this made Billy feel like his head was going to burst with guilt. He knew he had the strength to save that child, but in that moment, he had lost his courage. Because of his fear and anxiety, that boy's life was gone. The shock of it all caused a physical pain in his head. When he went to the warden to ask for some medicine for the pain, the warden told him that nothing was free. If he wanted a tablet, he had to pay for it or offer a cigarette. The whole system was completely illegal. This made Billy so angry that he lost control and started fighting everyone in sight. He was so blinded by rage that he didn't even realize what he was doing. After beating the guards, he actually bit one of them on the throat. Other guards rushed in to stop him and beat him so badly he was nearly dead. After that, he was thrown into another cell, covered in wounds. In this new cell, he met a transgender person named Fame. Fame was kind to Billy and put ointment on his injuries to help him heal, though Billy didn't really talk to him much at first. At this point, the police had Billy's hands and legs tied with ropes so he couldn't fight anyone else. Eventually, Billy's life settled into a sort of routine. One day at the canteen, he saw that Fame was working there. He asked Fame for help, begging for 2 packs of cigarettes because, in this jail, you needed cigarettes to get anything done. Billy promised Fame that he would pay him back as soon as he could. Fame was hesitant at first, but ended up feeling sorry for Billy and gave him the 2 packs as a loan. Billy took those cigarettes and went straight to a man who had drugs. He got some cocaine, used it, and ended up fainting. That same night, 3 people were murdered in the prison. All the prisoners were woken up in the middle of the night for a search so the guards could find the killers. When they got to Billy, they saw he was completely high. They also found the drugs in his shirt, which were actually the same ones used in the murders. Poor Billy was being framed for a murder he didn't commit. Luckily, the police realized that those specific drugs didn't belong to Billy because he had only used cocaine. The drugs actually belonged to a man standing right behind Billy who had tried to frame him to save himself. The police figured out the truth and caught the real killer. The next day, a guard offered Billy some more drugs, and Billy took them easily. However, when the guard asked for money, Billy didn't have any. The guard then made a dark deal. If Billy couldn't pay, he had to kill someone for him to settle the debt. Billy felt like he had no choice and had to listen. The guard wanted him to target the Muslim chefs working in the kitchen. Billy beat the chefs so badly that they were on the verge of death. The guard was thrilled to see them in such a bad state and offered Billy another packet of drugs as a reward, but this time, Billy refused. He was starting to feel deep regret for hurting two innocent people just to feed his addiction. His guilt became so heavy that he actually tried to take his own life. In the middle of the night, he used a blade to cut his wrists, but the people around him noticed and saved him before it was too late. The prison authorities realized Billy was under extreme mental stress, so they decided to unchain his hands and feet to help him calm down. While walking around, Billy noticed some people practicing boxing in the jail. Being a boxer himself, he went inside hoping to join them, but the coach kicked him out and threatened him. The coach told him that if he wanted to train there, he needed to bring money or cigarettes. Billy tried to explain that he was a great boxer and would do well, but the coach wouldn't listen. Once again, Billy went to Fame for help. He asked for one last loan of cigarettes so he could join the boxing training. He promised Fame that if he got selected for a match, he would use the prize money to pay back everything he owed. Fame decided to trust him and gave him the cigarettes. Billy took them to the coach and finally got his chance. After so much time, Billy finally had a punching bag to hit, and he poured all of his anger and frustration into it. When it came time for his trial, he performed so well that everyone there was shocked. His moves were on a completely different level compared to the others. Billy started practicing every single day. The coach was really impressed with his progress and trained him hard to get him ready for the upcoming matches. One day, after training, Billy saw the other prisoners holding a fish competition. He was actually very good at this game, so he joined in and won a huge pile of cigarettes. He took all his winnings straight to Fame, paid off his entire debt, and finally started talking to him properly. Billy asked Fame why he was in prison, and Fame revealed a heartbreaking story. He had killed his own father because his father used to torture him for being transgender. Fame started crying, and Billy comforted him, sharing that he also had no one in the world except his own father, but his father didn't even know he was in jail. This shared pain brought them closer together. Billy spent most of his time in the ring now, and finally, the day of the big competition arrived. Prisoners, high-ranking officers, and crowds gathered to watch. When the fight started, Billy's opponent was incredibly strong. He was dominating Billy, treating him like a puppet. Billy's ear was cut, and his eyes were so swollen he could barely see, but he refused to give up. He kept fighting until the other boxer started to get tired. The moment Billy saw his opponent wearing down, he seized the chance, landed a massive punch to his face, and knocked him out. Billy won the match, and the entire prison erupted in applause. Even the warden was impressed. He moved Billy to a special cell for the boxing team and told him he was being given a chance to compete at the national level in 2 months. This new match wouldn't be in this prison, but in a different one. Life in the new cell was much better. The food was good, and Billy was given the proper training and nutrition he needed to win. He was finally happy and made friends with the other inmates there, who weren't hardened criminals, but people who had made small mistakes, just like him. They even gave Billy a tiger tattoo on his back, believing it would give him the strength to win his tournament. Billy worked harder than ever. But one day, while he was taking a bath, Kang's gang from his old cell surrounded him. They beat him up because he still hadn't paid the money they felt he owed. Billy begged them not to kill him, promising to pay them back after he won the tournament. Kang let him go but left him with a terrifying threat. He showed Billy a needle filled with blood from an AIDS patient and told him if he didn't win, they would inject him with it. Upset by everything, Billy went to find Fame to talk, but he found Fame busy with other prisoners. This made Billy angry because he valued their friendship so much. They got into a huge argument, and other prisoners had to pull Billy away. Feeling completely broken, Billy turned back to drugs to numb his mind. While the drugs relaxed him, they were destroying his body. He started vomiting blood and went to the doctor, who told him that his organs were failing because of the drug use. He also had hernias from the intense training. The doctor warned him that if he did any more heavy exercise or took more drugs, he would die. Despite this life-threatening warning, Billy was determined. He decided he would win the tournament no matter what, as it was his only hope. He kept training in secret, and eventually, the day of the national competition arrived. Billy and the other fighters were taken to a different jail. Everyone was there to watch, but just as it was starting, Billy's internal pain became almost unbearable. He didn't think he could do it, but he managed to push through and entered the ring. After a traditional Thai prayer, the fight began. In the first round, Billy was amazing and tired out his opponent. But as the match went on, his health started to fail. His opponent noticed Billy's weakness and kept punching him in the stomach where the pain was worst. Billy fell down in agony, and it looked like he wouldn't make it through the final round. In that last round, his opponent was winning, but Billy, filled with sheer frustration and desperation, hit the man in the throat with his elbow. The opponent fell unconscious, and Billy won the tournament. Everyone cheered, and the warden was incredibly proud. But right as he was being celebrated, Billy collapsed and vomited blood. He was rushed to the hospital in an ambulance and stayed unconscious for many days. When he finally woke up, he felt a bit better. A nurse helped him to the washroom, and when he came out, he noticed there were no guards watching his room. He quietly walked out of the hospital and onto the streets. For the first time in months, he felt the fresh air and realized he was far away and technically free. But then he stopped and asked himself if this was really freedom. He realized that if he ran, he would be a fugitive for the rest of his life. He didn't want to live like that, so he chose to walk back to the hospital. After several weeks of recovery, the police took Billy back to jail. When he arrived, he got a wonderful surprise. His father had traveled all the way from England to see him. Seeing his dad filled Billy with a joy he hadn't felt in years. It felt like he had his whole world back. They shared a smile, and that is where the story ends.